Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we're back on the 2012 Hemi truck. It hasn't been running for a couple of months and it's been parked because of, well, time, weather, and mostly money. But today I need to get it figured out because we're in a position where we need to get some more firewood and, well, I just need my truck back. It's hard being stranded without a vehicle sometimes. So that's what we're after. We're going to figure out why it won't crank. It could be one of several things, and we're going to get into it.
This is My Cars Shop.
So the first thing we need to do is get it in here. And I had ordered some stuff that should have been here actually a couple days ago, but it's not going to be here until tomorrow. So I've got to figure out a way around it. So I was going to make a push me pull you type situation, but we'll share that with you when the stuff gets here and I get to making that. But in the meantime, I need to get that truck in here and it doesn't run. There's snow on the ground. So I'm going to use the 88 truck and figure out some kind of a creative way to push that 2012 truck in here because I'm by myself as always. And this is the fun of working alone. So we're going to get that in here and we'll be right back. All right, there we go. Nothing to see here at all. Nothing sketchy at all. I was able to put that on the hitch, put that on the back bumper on the step, and push it. And then at the last, the height was right. I was able to just bump right up against the Reese hitch on the back of the truck and get it in that far. I put blocks up in front so it wouldn't roll in too far and smash into something. And I think that's far enough for me now to be able to jack the front end up and get under it and take a look at it. So, like I said, nothing to see here at all. Just move along, all right? Nothing to see. I thought about using the bay lift, but I don't want that big clunky thing in the way right now. So I'm going to take this back outside where it belongs and then we'll be right back. All right, there we go. That's up in the air now. We can get under there. I just realized the truck is parked on one of my mats. I'll dig around and find something else to lay on. Yeah, I got another one back there. I guess I can steal, or there's a blanket. There's a rug over there. That might be even best. So we'll get something to lay on and get under there and see what we got to do to take the starter out. There's a shield that has to come off and then just a couple of bolts. Once we get the shield off, we may try one more time with a screwdriver across the terminals just to be sure. And of course, the other thing we got to make sure is that there's actually 12 volts down there at the big wire on the starter. So that's important also, because if there's no voltage there, that explains everything. There's ways to hotwire it if I have to, but we'll get into the technical stuff here in a little bit. Okay, so the starter is right here, and there's these two little bolts. We got to get that shield off, and then there's just, I think, two bolts. Oh, there's a big bracket in the way, isn't there? But I think I can get at, yeah, I can get at that bolt through there. Whew, locked out. So it ain't going to be easy, but it ain't going to be bad either. So let's get these out and what size they are, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, our shield is out of there now. This is the wire right there that needs to be jumped to make the starter work. So there's a battery post up here. So I'm going to get a test light and test that and make sure we got voltage down to that. And then we'll try jumping across this here. I don't know how to get that off of there. Should come off of there easy. But anyway, we'll get that wire off of there and then we'll see what we got. All right, I got my clip hooked up there, and let's come down here to somewhere where there's a ground. So we got voltage to the starter. So then the next thing to do is to bring here and jump across that with a jumper or a screwdriver or something and see if we can. Oop. Well, that's interesting, because that starter certainly isn't doing that. Okay, we better check and see if we've got voltage to this right here when we turn the key. So that's interesting, because I wasn't getting that before. Hear that? Ignore the test light. But what I'm doing is shorting across the terminal there. I just don't know if I'm not getting enough oomph or if it's I don't know what. So the starter could be bad, or I'm just not getting enough oomph. Well, I wasn't getting the relay to click before, so that's interesting. I may get up and try it with the key here a second. Okay, we got the wire off. So what I need to do now is put my oh, huh, 100% starter's bad. Right there, there's a copper wire right there that's burned off, corroded off. Okay, that's what the issue is right there. See that copper wire right there? It's hard to see. See if I can zoom in. It looks to me like that rotted off of the terminal, and that's all that's wrong with it. I'll go check the other starter that I got, but from here to here, I believe, is where our issue is. But the only way I'm going to be able to do this successfully is to have you guys tell me if the light lights up or not. I check my voltage. My test light lights up good from the big terminal. So I'm going to hit the key now and we'll see if we get the voltage to this. So you guys tell me because I can't see it when I do it. We'll have to go back and watch the video. Okay, guys, tell me what you got. Try it one more time because I may not have had a good connection in that connector right there. I'm pretty sure I got a good ground here. So we'll try it one more time. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Well, now I'm puzzled. I got to go look at that other starter because that big wire being looks like it's burned off. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's something else. So let me go in the house and get the reman starter and see what that looks like. Still might not have connection on that spade terminal. Another thing I could do is run a wire from the starter up to the battery and see if I could do it that way. If I could just get it to run, then I can take it to just get it running and take it up to Mike and get him to work on it. So we'll see. I think what I'm seeing is this wire right here is burnt off of this. So I don't know why I'm not getting voltage to this. It's those. That bothers me a little bit. Oh, that's the dust shield. Okay. But I'm going to pull the starter out. We're going to take a look at it. So I'm not going to film that. That'll be a bugger. So I will be right back. And that explains it 100%. That is rotted off right there, burned off, which explains why it quit the way that it did. Now I am puzzled why I'm not getting voltage when I turned that wire down there. That bothers me a little bit, but we know 100% the starter's bad. So we'll put the new starter in and then hopefully it works. And if not, we'll have to go further. That like maybe some kind of feedback on this caused a problem. I don't think it would have. The other thing is I've tried starting it so many times, it's possible that I kicked off an alarm in the truck. Who knows? But I'm going to say, I don't want to overthink it, but by the same token, it is a bit of a puzzle. But I do know on those spade connectors, sometimes you don't get a good connection. So it's just very possible. That's why. So we'll give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, the starter's definitely bad anyway. Now I know some people would probably give me some crap about taking so much time. It's like, well, why didn't you just throw a starter in it? Try it. Starters are $200, and I don't have $200 to spare for one thing. The other thing is, I'm a certified mechanic, and I'm not a parts replacer. I'm a technician. So I like to diagnose and test before I just start throwing parts at it. And there's a reason for that is because it saves money. But also, if you put on a bad new part, you may be compounding your problem. Must be my breath. I'm seeing smoke. I mean, battery's disconnected, but it had me nervous for a second. So you can be compounding your problem by putting on bad parts and not know it, and then you still haven't really found the issue. And so I would caution to say take a little time and do the actual diagnostics to be sure that you know where the problem lies. Sometimes I do overthink, and I know that. But I can tell you by experience that I've had that happen in the past. Even though I diagnosed something properly, I put on a new part that was bad and the problem wasn't gone. And I scratched my head for quite a while before I figured out that the brand new part was bad. So you just want to minimize the difficulties is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to get the starter back in there and keep your fingers crossed that it works. All right, do or die. Let's see what we got. Keep your fingers crossed. Woohoo! So obviously it didn't have a ground. Oh, I'm relieved. That's a huge relief. So I got to go under there and put the heat shield on. I didn't put that on yet. So that's just 2 bolts. That won't take long, and then we'll be back. Well, there we go. That's a step forward for sure. I had replaced the oil pressure sending unit for the computer. Now we've replaced the starter. So the only thing left on this now is the misfire on number 5, which I did put some dry gas in it, and I put some pump premium gas in it at the last before the starter quit. It seemed like it was running a little bit better, so it might just had some water in the gas or something, because I made the mistake of buying gas at Walmart, and I had problems with scoops right around the same time with the same gas. So, but if it comes back with that code for that number 5, I'm going to just take it up to Mike and let him fix it. I wanted to give a big shout out to Mike up at All in One Auto. If you're anywhere near Carroll, Michigan, and you need auto repair, go to All in One Auto. Tell them that Mike from My Car Shop sent you. They will know who the hell you're talking about. It's good to get the word out.
Right, Daddy?
As I mentioned, I'm not normally one to just throw parts at stuff, so I did text my buddy Mike up there at All in One and say, hey, I've never seen one quit like this before. And so he suggested a couple things, which was the starter relay and the TIP'em, or the radio control unit that's behind the back seat that coordinates with the key for starting. Um, but the way that it died was just really bizarre, and now I can understand why. Because it did this once before, so it really is a puzzle to me that it didn't completely quit before. But what it did before, well, maybe it does make some sense. And it did it this time too. I was cranking it, and it went yeah, and then just nothing. The last time it did that, it went and started. And I thought the battery was going dead, and I was going to need a battery. So that's what I was leaning towards on this. And I tested the battery, and it was fine. And I charged the battery to be sure. I tried jumping. I did all that stuff. Obviously, nothing, nothing, nothing. But now it makes sense to me. I'm betting that when it did that before, those wires were starting to get hot and burn apart, but they didn't completely burn. And it started again for a while. And then finally it went. And so when it started going, and those wires just melted apart on that starter. So we're going to take a road trip. I'm going to take a road trip. I'm not going to bother you guys with that, but I'm going to take a road trip and get my core back on that starter, because that was a huge amount of money. And we'll just drive this a little bit and see if it starts missing on number 5. And if it does, then I'll get it scheduled next week to get it in to Mike and get it looked at. So thanks, Mike, for the pointers on this. I sent him the video of what I found real quick, and he said, oh yeah, I've seen that a couple times. Like, well, I haven't, because I haven't done this on a daily basis in a long, long time. Or if I have done it, I don't remember. And that's okay too. Well, that's going to do it for this one. And notice how I put all the tools in the container, and now I can disperse them back where they belong, mostly back there. So it's working little by little. Got to go get changed, get my money back on that core, and go from there. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I enjoy sharing it with you. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you being here, and we will catch you on the next one. Rah!